When you think of iconic moments in the history of the NBA, often a single image frozen in time is what your mind conjures up when reflecting on favorite memories. One of the men best known for capturing these images knows it's more than just a job. It's an art form.
Well, the game is an amazingly artistic and graceful game. You know, for all the action and the physicality of it, it's a beautiful sport.
And so Andrew Bernstein set out in his career to capture those moments of on-court grace and action, eventually leading the league's efforts as senior director of NBA photos. And now on game day, before anything, it all starts with a pregame setup ritual working alongside his associate Noah Graham.
When we show up in an arena, we get here about 3.5, 4 hours early before the game. We bring the whole candy store of cameras, you know, the whole toolbox. So I have probably, I think I have about 4 or 5 remote cameras going.
When Warriors president Rick Welts was with the NBA League office in New York, he was instrumental in helping bring Bernstein into the fold as the league's official photographer, noting there's something very important to documenting the game frame by frame.
And the reason it was good timing was that Commissioner Stern was just taking over as commissioner of the NBA in 1984. And one of the things that was really a theme of his, what he wanted his time as commissioner to make a difference in, was recapturing the history and preserving the future history of the NBA. Something we'd never taken seriously. We didn't have a video archive, we didn't have a photographic archive that really traced the history of the game. And he saw that as a terrible shortcoming and something that a real league that aspired to be a great league really had to have in place.
As for the process, some cameras are placed behind the backboard glass, for instance, because the key to this game is being ready from as many angles as possible to capture what enters the frame at just the right moment.
I had to learn how to anticipate the action, be about a millisecond ahead, and so there's some semblance of a little bit of ESP, I guess you'd call it, and really know the game. And sometimes you don't get it, sometimes you get really lucky. I've had some great subjects to photograph. You know, you can think about Magic coming down, full steam ahead, he's got Worthy on one side and Cooper on the other side, and you don't know if he's going to pass it, he's going to no-look it, he's going to go behind the back, whatever he's going to do, and I have one shot at it. Same thing with Jordan, same thing with, you know, Kobe, LeBron, all these guys that are so flashy, and I have to show what they can do in one picture.
I do think freezing that one moment in time and freezing that one memory conveys emotion that sometimes video doesn't convey. And I think that, you know, Mr. Bernstein has, throughout his career with the NBA, really captured so many of the magical moments of the history of the game.
Based in LA, Bernstein is perhaps best known for his images of the Lakers, and when it comes to capturing artistry in motion, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar always presented an exciting challenge.
Kareem had a very predictable shot. You know, the skyhook was probably the most predictable shot in the history of the NBA. It's the only shot he had. You knew when he was going to set up to take it, the mechanics of it, but to get the absolute perfect shot of him in full mode of launching that sky hook was really a challenge, because his hand could be blocking his face, an opponent could be in the way or whatever. So when I say that it's a very artistic sport, the first guy really that comes to mind with that, to me, is Kareem.
As for his favorite Warriors player of all time to photograph,
well, I have a real soft spot for my good friend Chris Mullin, I got to tell you. You know, Chris, I always said Chris Mullin could shoot the lights out in the closet. And you know, there's been some great Warriors over the years.
When it comes to capturing dunks, you always have to be ready for what flies into the frame, because it just might become the stuff of legends.
The first dunk of mine that really got me jazzed up, to be honest with you, that I shot was Michael Jordan's dunk, the Come Fly With Me dunk, they call it. It was shot actually at the Hall of Fame game, the obscure Hall of Fame game, they didn't even have it anymore, in Springfield against the Lakers. And it really kind of started the ball rolling with kind of remote cameras, dunks, what can be done, you know, photographically to capture it.
I think the palette is pretty rich, and I think the ability to, you know, capture that emotion, you really have a great opportunity to do that in the NBA, and Andy's taken advantage of that in every way.
And even though he's based in LA and doesn't get to the Bay Area but just a couple of times a year, the home of the Warriors is always one of his favorite stops.
I got a real soft spot for this organization. Ray Ritter's a good friend of mine. Rick Welts I've known for over 30 years. And your new ownership group is great. And I love coming up here. It's one of my favorite places.